Welcome to our best games of 2015. This is going to be a top 10 list. We're going to count down. But let's talk a little bit about 2015. Was it a good year for you, gaming-wise?
Was it a good year for gaming? Yes, it was a good year for gaming. However, I was too busy still catching up with games of 2014.
And probably 2013 and 2012. And 2011.
We don't realize how many games come out each year from all these board gaming companies. There's no way we can play all of them, right?
Correct, yeah.
I think maybe you do, because you have infinite time. It seems like
I have a lot of time, and I have a lot of different gaming groups. So I have a gaming group we play every Sunday. It's a couple who really isn't into gaming, but they play with me. I have you guys. I have my wife, and I have my sister. So there's a couple different gaming groups I can play, but I play a lot of 2-player games.
Okay.
And a lot of 4. 2 and 4 is kind of the magic number for me. Mm-hmm. Lots of games, but we do play, or at least I do. I play a lot of newer games, and I went to a lot of cons this year. So at the cons, you can pull out a lot of games. So I think I might have went to 5 or 6 cons this year, which was new. That's a
lot. It almost feels excessive.
What I do.
That is what you do.
I always try to get you guys to come with me, but nobody ever comes.
I'm like, I gotta work.
Do what the rest of America does. Don't work and get a paycheck.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Okay, so let's talk about some games that you thought that you hadn't played. Because the only games on our list are ones that we played. And I think independently we both used BGG, Board Game Geek, whatever year they had listed. So if they had listed as 2015, we used it. I didn't include any expansions, did you?
I did not include expansions.
So these are all new games released 2015. They may have an expansion, but we didn't include just the expansion. So, so if a Dominion expansion or Ascension expansion came out, it wasn't included. Let's talk about some games that we didn't play that we think may have made the list had we played it.
There are 3 games that I think if I would have played, I probably would have put on my list. And those games are Blood Rage, which I think came out...
I agree with that.
It came out the end of this year.
Yeah.
I mean, people were playing it in conventions and things, and so there was a lot of buzz going around about it. I just hadn't had a chance to get it. And it just got released, I think, in November, so didn't get to get it on the table. The other game that I think I would, if I played it and I would have liked it, would probably have been Forbidden Stars, which is the Fantasy Flight. I guess they're epic. It's kind of like their remake of StarCraft, just with the Warhammer 40K theme on it. So I think I would have liked that a lot. And then the last one is Pandemic Legacy, which is like... It is like the rage right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't played that. But it takes a dedicated group, and you can't come every week. So.
Right, and I've played Risk Legacy, and I really like that. So I can't imagine how it would translate playing Pandemic Legacy. So I think
you
think
maybe
those
find out one day. Let's see. Posthuman was one for me. It's on my list to play. Big Book of Madness was a cooperative game. Inhabit the Earth. I agree with Blood Rage and Forbidden Stars. I haven't played Seven Wonders Duel yet. There's a few games that are on my list to play, and I'll get there soon. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what about honorable mentions? Do you have any?
I kind of do have honorable mentions, but it's hard because they're kind of like expansions, but could be standalone games. One of them is the Runebound, the new 3rd edition. I really like that game. I played the 2nd edition. I thought it was good. I played the 3rd edition. And I was like, wow, this is very, very... I like the way they changed it and made it a lot better. Okay. But it's a reprint. So,
right. And I didn't include any reprints either.
Yeah, so that's one of them. And then The Voyages of Marco Polo.
Oh.
Is a game that I liked, but I don't think is one of my top 10 games of this year.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it.
Some games that didn't make my list that I liked was Elysium, the game, which is a light game I can play with my wife. It's just a numbers game. For children, Little Red Riding Hood I liked a lot. New York 1901. You had Stockpile. Dark Seas was a really good one. And 2 that almost made the list was Bring Out Your Dead. Almost made the list. And number 11 would probably be Area 1851. That's a game I really like. There's no downtime. Everything is simultaneous. Which I really, really like. And that was a really hard one. That might be a tie for number 10, but I had to cut it off. So, All right. All right. Number 10 game. What do you have?
My number 10 is Warhammer Quest adventure card game. So this game just came out at the end of this year. I ended up getting it. It sold out really quick as soon as it came out, but I was able to grab a copy. And this game is... Have you ever played Lord of the Rings, the card game?
Yes.
Okay, so it's what I wanted Lord of the Rings, the card game, to be. It feels like an adventure game without a lot of the minutia of deck building and deck playing. So you just kind of... You have actions and you play them out. It's very reminiscent of Space Hulk, Death Angel, if you've ever played that game. That's a good one,
yeah.
So it plays kind of that way. I really liked it. It really surprised me how much I liked it. The game itself feels a little incomplete, so it's almost like, hey, here's a taste of what the potential of the game, and I really liked it. So I really like the potential.
Is it an LCG?
It is not an LCG. It is a card-based dungeon crawl. So I guess it would be similar to Pathfinder.
Ooh.
But I've not played Pathfinder, and it doesn't feel Pathfinder-y. Where I'm just...
Save your time on Pathfinder.
I'm just playing cards or selecting actions and rolling dice. There's actually significant tactical things you can do, and it tells a good story.
I've actually never heard of the game. Warhammer's not something...
But you have it right there, Marrying Mr. Darcy. Is
that the same thing?
It's the exact same thing.
Okay, perfect. My number 10 is Grand Austrian Hotel. This is going to be one of your bland Euros with the Pace-It-On theme. You're going to have... You are trying to fill a hotel and get guests to come there and fill it up and grab victory points. And if you're into Euros, this is a pretty good one. This is one I think fell under the radar, and you haven't played this one, I don't think.
No.
It's fun. It plays well with 2 and 4. I haven't played with 3 yet, but it's a good game. So Grand Austrian Hotel.
Well, my number 9 is Dark Gothic Colonial Horror. And this deck building game I got because I was doing some research on some deck building stuff for a design that was kind of bouncing around in my head. I got the original Dark Gothic, which is the first one, and played it, and I thought it was okay. Dark Gothic Colonial Horror is the expansion, but standalone expansion, so I kind of counted it in here. And the reason I'm counting it in here is because it changed the game to what it should be, which is this really cool. It's practically set. It's the Flying Frog. Have you played the game Touch of Evil?
Sure.
Okay, so the game Touch of Evil by Flying Frog. This is like the deck building game version of that. Okay. Same characters that are in that are in this one.
This is a Flying Frog game?
Yes, this is a Flying Frog game.
How did it fall? I never even heard of it. So.
It's very, very cool. It plays really well. It feels like a deck building game, but it has a lot more story to it, and it makes a little bit more sense the way it plays. And
so far, your list is completely obscure to me. I've never heard of any of these. As far as I know, you're making these up.
Well, I think a lot of people are going to probably miss this because it's Flying Frog. So people who automatically think Flying Frog, they're like, oh, they're just Ameritrash or Amerithrash, style, and I don't want a deck building game that's that. But this totally fits. It makes sense. It tells a good story, and it could be played co-op, like semi-co-op, kind of like Legendary, which I think is kind of dumb, but it's a really good game, and you should give it a try.
What, you think Legendary is kind of dumb, or semi-co-op?
Semi-co-op. The idea of semi-co-op is kind of dumb.
Okay.
You can quote me on that.
You've never played Lord of the Rings Nazgul.
Kind of dumb. No, I have not.
Number 9 for me is a little game. I play games solo. I'm okay with that. And it's called Sylvian. And it's about these cards, this fire that moves, and you're trying to put them out before it burns down the forest. Don't worry, it's not a liberal message of deforestation or anything like that, but it is...
Feels like it just a little bit.
But it's a fun game. It doesn't feel like you're playing against a board, even though you are. Mm-hmm. It kind of feels like you're playing against the rules of the game, which is fun.
Okay.
And then it has some variants that come in and make it a little bit harder. I've had a really good time with this. So right now, this is probably one of my favorite solo games. It's a little box. It's cheap. It's not very... And the art is unique, to say the best. Like this dream state kind of thing. But you can make it harder or easier on yourself, so you can adjust it to what you want. This is a good game to play on your lunch break, if you got some extra time, or you just want to fool around with something while you're waiting on somebody. It's a solo game though. There is some 2-player roles, but it's a solo game.
My number 8 is a little bit of a cheat again because it's an expansion, but it's an expansion to a game that actually changed the game again.
This is what's hard about board gaming with you. It's like you're following the rules, but you cheat a lot.
Well, this game is Elder Sign Gates of Arkham, and that came out this year. So
that's an expansion.
It's an expansion, but it introduces a whole new different deck of location cards, because now you're not just in the museum, you're in the city, but it's like a whole new different type of mechanics. It adds events, it adds these different kinds of cards, and then you play the game and you're like, this is a completely different game from Elder Sign, the first one. And so you can either play Elder Sign or you can play Elder Sign Gates of Arkham, which is a completely different game in the sense that the way it plays, the way it feels is completely different. It doesn't feel like they just added on a mechanic. It's a different game in and of itself. And so this game has made Elder Sign a much more interesting and a lot more tougher of a game to play. The decisions are a lot tougher, but it actually feels like I'm playing in that Lovecraftian world. So if you get Elder Sign because you need the base game to play, if you get Elder Sign, the first expansion you should be Gates of Arkham. That should be hands down. And then don't play with the other one ever again. Don't play with the museum. Just play with Gates of Arkham and all the other stuff that comes with the original game. Just put it into this one, because that's the game you want to play.
Did you design this game?
I did not design this game.
Your love for the expansion made me think maybe you designed it.
No. I wish. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Be like, hey, I made a game that
should be
changes it.
You should design an expansion to Elder Sign and just drop it like a mic and be done and never design anything else. You made it.
Be like, this is the game that you wanted to make.
Now,
I would never say that to Richard.
My number 8 is an actual game and not an expansion. It's called Argonauts. It's Kickstarter.
Argonauts. Okay.
It's I recently did a review on it.
Like Jason and the Argonauts?
Like Jason and the Argonauts.
Okay.
It's a really neat little cooperative game. Can be played solo or with more. Mm-hmm. It plays well solo, but playing with more people, I think, will help you strategize a little bit better. Mm-hmm. I think it would... The alpha problem, you're not going to have a problem with this too much. But Argonauts is a really cool... It's a beautiful game. The artwork is just fantastic. Have you seen it?
No.
It's wonderful.
Okay.
And I think I saw my review, it might be the best artwork I've ever seen in the game.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
This year?
It's fantastic, man.
Even better than Elysium artwork. Because Elysium has really nice artwork, and it's that same mythology style.
It's good.
Okay. Okay.
It's good.
I'll trust your judgment.
All right. Argonauts, really good. Probably the best cooperative game of the year. No spoilers on what's coming up on my list, but it's a really, really good, solid, new design cooperative game. My
number 7 is Mysterium. Or what's the Polish version?
Podaky Tanakukivo.
The most or something like that. I don't even know. If you had it, I'd probably pronounce it right because I've heard it pronounced correctly. But
I have the Polish version. I don't have the
English version.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is.
Good luck
amongst all this stuff. But Mysterium is it was a very, very cool experience. I really enjoyed it. The version that we played, I know, plays a little different than from the Mysterium version, which is the American release.
You played this with me, right?
I played this with you, right?
Yeah, next time.
So the way we played it was very fun. The way you play the cards, where one player is the kind of like the moderator ghost thing, and then everyone else kind of just is trying to figure out the puzzle, and it's just a really fun puzzle to figure out. Very Dixit-ish. It really was very cool. I had a good experience. There's another game that I think I would like more than this, but I haven't played that game. So right now, this is going to be...
Is that Deception?
That's Deception, yes. So that being said, Mysterium, I think it's one of the better games to come out this year.
Mysterium's a really good game. Mm-hmm. It's a really fun kind of cooperative game, but one person is still working with you, but not working on the same part of the game as you. So there's two parts of the game. You have one person doing this and everybody else doing that. So it's really neat how it works together.
Yeah.
My number 7 is Discoveries. I really like Lewis and Clark. It's my favorite racing game. Really like the theme. It all comes together for me. Discoveries is the dice version of Lewis and Clark. It works for me. I was a little surprised. I don't usually like the dice version of a game. Usually they're not very good. I can think of Bang, the dice game. It may be an upgrade. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, maybe. Gotcha. Okay.
I might like the card game better though. I might be in the minority in that. Discoveries. While I don't think it replaces Lewis and Clark for me, it's a different type of game to me with the same kind of engine going. So I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought, and it plays well 2 or more players, which is good. The theme really hits home for me, and I look forward to expansions. I think that's going to have some expansions coming out, and I like the use of the dice and saving them and stealing them. It's really neat.
Do you feel it plays faster than?
So.
You feel more of a race doing this one? Because I felt like that Lewis and Clark was like, wow, it's a race, but it's like a really kind of drags on kind of race. I don't know if Discovery feels a little different, or is it more just like fulfilling recipes kind of thing? Maybe
both. I think with Lewis and Clark, sometimes if you got ahead, it was I guess in Lewis and Clark, if I saw somebody get ahead, it was hard for anybody to catch up.
Okay.
With this, I think people can still dice and do some things, so I think it can help you out. Yeah.
Okay. My number 6 game for this year, and this is where we start going into. I'm leaving a little bit of the Euro, or a little bit of the cooperative stuff, and started going into my Euro style games.
Now, Microsoft Excel was released in 1977, so it will not make this list for you.
But my number 6 is Mombasa, and this game is such an interesting game because it has this really interesting card mechanic that happens in this game. So the object of the game is, I guess, you're explorers in Mombasa, and you're trying to exploit the land that is there in this area, and you're explorer / trader, and you're trading diamonds and getting resources. But the way the card play is so incredibly unique. I've never played a game like it before, and it's cool because the way it plays out is, in order for you to get the resources you want and do the moves that you want, you have to play cards in a certain way that then you couldn't play them that same way the next time around. So it really causes you to think which cards to add to your resource deck and things. And it's an incredibly interactive game for a Euro. So, you're actually paying attention to what everyone else is doing, and you can actually mess up their plans. And for Euro, I thought it was very, very good. The learning curve was a little steep at first, but once you get over that, everything kind of makes sense. You understand what everything is on the board. Mombasa, it's a really enjoyable game. I really liked it.
I have not played this game, and I will not play this game. Number 6 for me, Baseball Highlights 2045. I like any game with a year in it. Prefer a year from the future. And I'm a baseball fan. So this is interesting, because being a baseball fan, so if you're playing a video game, something like that, you want to see real players. You want to see, Babe Ruth, the old guys, or the current guys. This is going to use fictional names, but set kind of in the future, but it looks like it's from the past. It's this weird thing with robots and whatnot from 2045. It's a deck-building game, but it's unique because you're going to play a series, almost like a World Series.
Okay.
And then you're going to be able to buy players in between games and improve your team. So it's kind of weird how it plays out for a historical baseball fan. But it's a really fun game, and I like the way it works. There's some back and forth that can happen and based on who you play and what cards come up. So it's a really neat game. And even if you're not a baseball fan, I think you can play this one and enjoy it because the game is enjoyable and not just the baseball aspect of it. So you have this aspect of buying cards and playing them and going around. And there's some cards that will have... if this happens, then you hit a double, then the other player can try to block it with some fielding.
Okay.
So not in a simulation, but more of an arcade version and fun. So it's a good one. Baseball Highlights 2045. And I think I played this one for the first time at the Dice Tower Con.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I bought it there too. I got the deluxe version, which is really neat.
From what I understand, the actual game is pretty quick.
It's really quick.
So
yeah.
the series is not like this drawn out thing.
It's not. This is not a simulation at all.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the usually a lot of these kind of like sports games are looking down charts and then figuring out, oh, did he hit a double against this pitcher? But you have to. It almost feels like a war game.
This is simple. I mean, even if you played, what's the football game? First and 10. Yeah, first and goal.
Yeah.
This is even simpler than first and goal.
Really?
But gives you a good gaming experience. So this is a neat one. This is something we might have to do a review on, and I'll take you through it because this is a good game.
Sweet. My number 5 is Motainai. Motainai is a game that is by Carl Chudik, and it is the
You made that name up too.
Streamlined. It is the streamlined version of Glory to Rome. I should say streamlined. I should say a reimagining of Glory to Rome. This game was kickstarted and released in 2015, and man, this game is so good.
Did I play this with you?
No, you haven't played this with me. This game is so good, and I almost want to say it replaces Glory to Rome for me, but I don't want to get rid of Glory to Rome because I think it delivers a different kind of experience. It's almost too close. But the reason I like Motainai is because it plays quicker, the deck is smaller, and it's just a really intense game. And so if you guys have not played Glory to Rome, pretty much it's a, I guess, follow the leader kind of mechanic. You have a card that has multiple functions. You play a card, you do what it does, and then all your opponents get a chance to do a secondary action that's on your card. So this mechanic was created by Carl Chudik, and he uses it in a lot of the games that he's done. But this one, I think, is the most purest version of this game. So I think if I were to introduce people to this, like Glory to Rome, I'd probably introduce them to Motainai first. It gets a little weird with the way you score at the end and how certain cards work, but overall, I think it's a great game, and I'm surprised a lot more people don't talk about it. I think maybe it's because there's just so many games. But yeah, Motainai, check it out.
Number 5 for me is Champions of Midgard, which is a worker placement with dice, battling trolls and ghouls and goblins and spooky things. The rules are terrible. Getting through the rule book, you're not going to play the game correctly, so you're going to need somebody to teach you this game or look at a video online. But if you can, it's a simple game, so if you can get to the table and play this, you actually have a pretty good time. The artwork is good, the dice are big and fun to roll. There is some luck in the game, which can be mitigated, but there is luck in it, and you could get totally screwed by the dice, and that's life. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to appeal to the purely Euro crowd, even though it's kind of a Euro game. But it's a fun experience that most people are going to enjoy, and the theme is going to draw some of us in. So Champions of Midgard, it's a very solid release this year. I'm not as high on it as most people are, but it's a solid release. So 5 is good. And 5 in 2015 is a good place to be.
Yeah. My number 4 is Automobiles.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I really like that game. Is it a true racing game? That's debatable. I think it makes sense, the theme with the mechanics, but man, is it an interesting game to play. It's a pool building car game, and you're racing around a track, and that's all you're doing. You're just pulling cubes out and doing what they do, and then manipulating your cubes. And for some reason, it works for me. I like the randomness of drawing the cubes. I like the control you have of putting cubes out, trading out cubes and stuff like that. But I mean, the game is quick. The game is pretty streamlined. It's easygoing. It's like a good drink. You know, you enjoy it. And it's just like, wow, this is nice and refreshing and good. So I haven't played the other games in the series. I haven't played Planes or Trains, but Automobiles I definitely like a lot. So I think it's one of the better games of this year.
I'm like a balloon that hasn't been properly tied down. I'm blown away. Automobiles is a solid game, I suppose. But to be number 4 of this year, this is a good year.
Yes. But
showcases...
out of the games here that I would play this game over some of the other ones.
Okay. It just showcases your terrible taste in games, I suppose.
Well, that's your opinion. That is your opinion. You're entitled to that.
Thank you, sir. Because it's correct. Nah, Automobiles is okay. We played it. We did a review on it. We had a good time. I look forward to maybe bringing it out with the other guys in the group and let's have a big race. It's just so hard to play that when you have Thunder Alley.
That is true.
And Thunder Alley was a previous year, but it's still going to be compared to that. So my number 4, and let's see if it compares to yours. Let's see. Let's just do this.
Okay.
Pandemic Legacy.
Oh, come on! You can't do that. I haven't played Pandemic Legacy.
You had better friends. Oh. Pandemic Legacy is a wonderful cooperative game. It takes the pandemic game that and the first time, this is no spoilers, but the first time you play it, simple pandemic, and then things start to happen that kind of bring the legacy into it. This could have very easily been number 1. This is probably my number 1 gaming experience of the year, hands down. Problem is, I've played it twice. I don't know that I'm going to play it again. If you said, come to me and say, hey, let's play this Pandemic Legacy, we got 3 guys or 2 other guys, sure, I'd go through it with you.
Okay. But
I'd be doing it more as a good friend rather than I'm looking forward to 18 more games of this.
Oh, I got it.
But I'm a big fan of Pandemic, and based on... I would let you guys make the decision, which I did the second time. Mm-hmm. I didn't direct the game the second time because I already knew what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. I look forward to Season 2 of this. Gaming experience-wise, fantastic. You got to do this once, and I'd be happy to do it with you. But it was hard for me to put it number 1. I don't think that unless somebody comes to me and really wants to experience it, I would play it again. Yeah. Now, what I might do is, I think this is a really cool thing to do with Pandemic Legacy, is to showcase it of what board games can be. So when I try to explain to people what board games can be past the monopolies and the lives and troubles, I usually bring something like Pandemic Legacy into conversation. Well, I got this game that evolves while you play it over a number of times, and video gamers are like, wow, that's interesting. That's a different concept. So very innovative, very cool. Even though there's a risk was there, but this is a very innovative game and the best gaming experience. But I have a hard time putting it number 1. But it could have easily been there. Let's leave it.
Do you think the style of game could be a new genre of games in the next 2016, 2017? Because Rob Davio, who designed this game, is also, or who helped design this game, is also doing that Seafall with Plaid Hat next year. He's designing a few other ones. That seems to be the trend of you play it once or twice and then you're good. You move on.
I think, the app games, people are like, oh, there's going to be a whole bunch of app games.
Yeah. That's
hard to design because now you have to have an app. I think it's expensive to make an app, so you're talking about outlaying a lot of money. With a legacy game, I think it's a challenge to design, but it doesn't really cost you more to design. So I think you're going to see this more than the app game. Plus, well, heck, they got to buy a new game if they want to play it again, which is fantastic for the bottom line. So it could be even more profitable because the app, while expensive, you're giving it away for free. With this, you're requiring another game. The problem is, I think people are going to get tired of this. You're going to get tired. I think the Time Stories thing where you have, here's the game, and then you just buy expansion packs.
Yeah.
I think that might be more the way to go legacy than you just have to buy a completely new game. Mm-hmm. It's going to have to be like Pandemic Legacy where it blows you away. Otherwise, I think people... Because I think a lot of people are staying... No, not a lot of people. Some people are staying away from Pandemic Legacy because it's this the boss at 18 plays. Mm-hmm. But you also have to find buddies who will play it with you. So, you're like, I haven't played it. Well, I've already played it twice. I'm not jonesing to play it, although I would play it with you again. Mm-hmm. So now you got to find friends who will play it, who haven't played it. It just gets very specific.
So that means you have good friends if they're willing to play a third go-around of Pandemic Legacy with you.
Well, you, my friend, have the best of friends. That's a fact, Jack.
My number 3 is Tiny Epic Galaxies. And out of all the Tiny Epic series, I think this one so far is the funnest one. Is that the word? The more fun? The funnest one? It's
Both.
the most fun.
I'm from Kentucky. We do both.
I like Tiny Epic Kingdoms. I think that's pretty good. I think with the new expansion, it'll be a little bit better. Tiny Epic Defenders, I did not like at all. It was just... But Tiny Epic Galaxies was really, really, really fun to play. Really easy. It reminds me, it has a similar mechanic as Glory to Rome, Eminent Domain, just the whole, I play a thing, and then if you can play the exact same action I'm playing. And it plays really quickly. It's really easy to set up. It's really easy to play. It's got dice. I mean, what else? What else can you want?
And you like space.
So good. And I like space. So it's a theme that I gravitate towards anyway. So that's going to be my pick. Because it's small, it's still epic. And a pretty good game for this year. So that's on my list.
I'm going to do number 3 as Mombasa Special Edition. I would never play the actual game. I got to have the upgraded edition.
What's on the upgraded edition?
I don't know.
Oh, it's because there's not one.
Yeah, there was.
Confuse people. No,
yeah.
It wasn't. Oh, the one that comes in the wooden box.
Yeah. And you played this with me, right?
Yeah.
Paul Bryan.
I didn't realize it was in the wooden box.
Yeah, that's a difference.
I forgot. Okay.
I have to have a wooden box.
Isn't that like some of your other games that are just in wood boxes, like Lord of the Rings? Don't you have Lord of the Rings in a wooden box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I require most of my games to be made purely of wood. Like the one I showed you that just fell apart, the wooden box for that food truck game. It's a pile of wood over there. Mombasa is a really, really deep Euro game. It had a steep learning curve, which probably kept it from being higher on this list because I can't just pull it out and play it with anybody. Mombasa is a fun game. It has interactive in a Euro game, which is unique. This is a win to me. And it was a game I had never heard of.
Yeah.
Until a friend of ours brought it over and we played it. Mm-hmm. And it's a wonderful game. Highly recommend it, but know that you're jumping into the deep end of the pool here, okay?
Yes, for sure.
So we shared that one. That was what, your number 6?
That was my number 6.
6 and my number 2.
Yeah.
Mombasa.
My number 2 for 2015 is Champions of Midgard.
My number 5.
Your number 5. I really like this game. And one of the reasons I really like this game is because it feels like there's no bad decisions in this game. It feels like everything I do in this game is a good move. So the game then just becomes, okay, which one is the best move for me to make? So even if I get blocked out of certain areas, there's always something I can do that's always beneficial for me. It also has dice. I'm a big fan of dice. I really like it a lot. And the way the game plays where you have to fight these, you have a set collection aspect of it, you have a resource management aspect of it, and then secret goals, which is it makes the game just really work together really well. I agree. I agree with Jason. The rules are nothing to write home about, but
they're terrible.
The game is terrible. Good. The game is good. And once you get it going, it's a wonderful experience, and you can't go wrong with it.
Now, the word on the street is you designed this game.
I wish I designed this game.
You didn't design this one?
I did not design this one. I did not design.
One of these days, I'm going to say this, and you're going to be like, "Yeah, I did design that."
Oh yeah, that's one of mine.
You designed.
I'll probably have a pen name, like those authors that don't want to use their real name.
You should use my name as your pen name.
That would be great.
That'd be great.
We'll do that.
Just confuse everybody. My number 2 is Automania. This was a close number 1. This is a family game you can play with nearly anybody who is willing to play a board game, okay? So if they're willing to sit down and play, and it's not your 80-year-old grandma who, is just being kind to you, they actually want to learn a game, Ticket to Ride type of level game, Automania may be it. This is a very simple game. It's not going to be as simple as like Trouble, just roll the dice and move, but because it has maybe 1 or 2 layers from that, but it's a fun game, and it gets you right into the middle of buying and purchasing and selling cards very early in the game. There's not a lot of a roundup to this. So Automania, this is a game that may have flew under the radar. If you haven't played this, buy this game. This is a game I would tell you, just go ahead and buy. You're going to like it. If you like light Euro type family games at all, Ticket to Ride-ish, you will like Automania. Number 2, this is a game that would go on more than just 2015 list to me. This is one that would be on a lot of lists to me. This is a fantastic game that I really, really like. And you played this one?
I have not played Automania.
This is a game you're going to love this one. This would have made your list.
Okay.
You would like this game. Fantastic. Sweet. The artwork is neat. It's just... I can't believe this game isn't talked about more.
And my number 1 is...
Let me guess.
Okay.
An expansion.
How did you know? Holy moly. No, my number 1 is Elysium.
Oh, wow. I was expecting some kind of dry merchant game.
No. Elysium. Which is... I guess it's not really dry.
Elysium's a cool game.
It's a really fun game. Made by Space Cowboys. I'm telling you, man. Space Cowboys...
What else have they made?
They made Splendor.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
You know, it's a really nice... It was interesting because Splendor came out...
and Elysium. That's a good combo.
Splendor came out last year. And you're like, oh, okay, this is a neat little light game. Really easy to play. And then they came out with Elysium, which is like, ooh, this is a step up from Splendor. Man, the artwork... I think what compels me the most about this game is the artwork. The artwork in this game is so good. Now, Jason's saying it's better than Argonauts. I haven't seen the art for Argonauts, but I think the artwork for Elysium is good. And I like the way the cards, if you look at the cards from each god, how they all... You can display them all to make this one panoramic kind of thing, and it's really, really well done. The gameplay is really interesting, where you have these colored pillars, and then depending on the pillars you have are the options that you can take on which cards you can take. But then as you pick up cards, you have to get rid of these pillars, which limits your choices. So it's a really interesting drafting technique that I really, really enjoy, and it goes by really fast. I mean, all of a sudden the game's over, and you're like, wow, this much time has passed? Holy moly. So I think it's so far out of the games that I've played this year, this one has been the one that I've just really, really enjoyed the most.
This is one I kind of regret not putting on my list somewhere, although I stand behind what I put on here. I also tried to pick, a solo game. That I don't want just the same type of game over and over and over. Elysium's a very good pick, a very solid game. But this is a very good year.
Yeah.
My number 1 is going to be Voyages of Marco Polo. This is an instant classic game. This is a Euro game with dice rolling. This is a game that should be in nearly everyone's collection. Automania is the same way, but Voyages of Marco Polo in particular, it's a step up from Automania, but Voyages of Marco Polo is so cool in the unique powers that you have and moving around the board and the dice manipulation, how things work. You can do anything, it just might cost you more dice, and it's just so interesting to do those kind of things. This is one of the best games to come out in a long time. This is a solid game. I think we played it for the first time at Dice Tower Con. Yeah. It was kind of that hot thing there. Mm-hmm. This is a solid game that also should be on many, many other lists. And unfortunately, I think it kind of was a hot thing, and then it kind of fell off. But
yeah, it's because it came out so early in the year.
Yeah, this is a fantastic game. Mm-hmm. You played it, right?
Yeah.
Did it make your list?
It made my honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I would rather play other games other than that one.
It's wonderful, and this is a game that I feel confident that I can teach to most people that are willing to play a game, which is important to me, because I play with different people. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's our top 10. Anything surprise you about my list?
I'm surprised that Voyages of Marco Polo is number 1 on your list. That surprises me a little bit. Other than that...
It kind of hits my sweet spot with the Euros and...
Yeah, and dice. It's got a good dose of both. But other than that, I've never heard of Argonauts, so I don't know. I'd have to check that out. But other than that, your list is
apparently you don't watch my other reviews, so fair enough. Because I did one on Argonauts.
Yeah, I haven't seen the one for Argonauts. I thought that Argonauts was a print and play version. But no. So that's what surprised me. Is there something that surprised you on my list?
Yeah, some of the little ones like the Galaxy game kind of surprised me. You put some expansions in, so I wasn't expecting the expansions. I didn't know you liked Mysterium that much.
Mm-hmm.
And Elysium being number 1. Well, that's a good solid pick, but it didn't make my list but made yours. Mm-hmm. But you hadn't played some of them like Pandemic Legacy, you know.
Like I said, if I would have played a few of those other games, they probably would have totally kicked out some of my other...
I think Lanterns is a game, if you haven't played, that you would really like.
I haven't played Lanterns.
New York 1901, Stockpile's really good. Stockpile you really like.
I probably would like that game a lot.
So... I guess I'm more surprised because you hadn't played some of these that I think that you really like more than what made your list. Although, the Galaxy little tiny epic thing, I'm surprised I went them so high. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's our list. Feel free to comment or subscribe to our channel.
Thanks.
Or both. Can I do both?
Do both. You should do both. It would help us out a lot. Thanks. Is everything all right? I just thought of something.
I'm going to put Argonauts and show you the artwork, but...
You don't know where it's at. Alright. Let me just answer my wife. We're trying to text some documents for health insurance stuff. It's not printing. I shouldn't be wearing stripes for TV. That's terrible.
You shouldn't. You did it last time, I have to tell you.
Yeah. All right, my number 2 is Champions of Midgard.
You should be wearing dinosaur shirt.
Dinosaur shirt, because...
That's what you should wear. Yeah. All right, start over. Number 2.